Hey everyone, welcome to 996 The Howl for the uninitiated. This is an unedited YouTube vlog discussing everything Arizona Coyotes, and it got pretty crazy that weekend. Just after I made that video, the Coyotes made another acquisition, getting two-time Stanley Cup champion Andrew Ladd, who really hasn't played much hockey in the past 2 years. Kind of fell out of it with the New York Islanders. Maybe a long-term injured reserve type player, but he says he can play, and Bill Armstrong says he wants to play. But we'll get into that trade later and what it means and what worries me a little bit. But let's get into the Seattle expansion list that the Coyotes did submit. Not too many changes. I pretty much predicted it pretty okay. Obviously, they traded away Adin Hill and got Josef Kozenash, who is now the goaltender that is exposed to Seattle, but there's so many goalies on the market, and Seattle is definitely not going to take Kozenash. But Bill Armstrong even said that he was worried that the Seattle would take Adin Hill, and I'm pretty sure he had conversations with the management over there, and they would have taken Hill. So he made a trade. He had to. You didn't want to lose a guy for nothing. And the value was top-notch, getting a second-round pick in Kozenash. On the defense, it was pretty obvious. Only Lyubushkin fit the exposure requirement, so they protect OEL, Chikrin, and Capobianco. And then on the forward side is a bit where, my personal bias got in the way. I said they would protect Pitlick and expose Johan Larsson and expose Fischer, but they decided to protect Larsson and expose Tyler Pitlick. It makes sense. Centermen are more valuable than power forwards and wingers. So honestly, the personal bias got the best of me, but I know a lot of fans really wanted to protect Pitlick. We really don't have an attachment to Johan Larsson, which was why it was pretty easy to just say, oh, let's expose Larsson. But I understand he fits a role. He's a good third, fourth line center that can move it up and down the lineup. If they do experience injuries, and especially down the middle, the Coyotes could be a bit weak. It all depends on whether Barrett Hayden can make that step to get that third-line center role and push Larsson maybe to fourth-line center role. Hopefully the new coach, who has coached Hayden to gold at the World Junior Championship, hopefully they mesh well and Hayden really takes that next step. But it's obvious that they would protect Kessel, Keller, Dvorak, Schmaltz, Garland, and Larson Krause along with Johan Larsson. Great to see Garland there. A lot of mixed messages surrounding Garland, and I guess I'll get into it. Let me just finish off with the expansion list. I'm pretty sure they'll take Pitlick, maybe Fischer. They're the same player. Pitlick's a better Christian Fischer, but an older Christian Fischer. Fischer's younger than Pitlick, maybe not there where Pitlick is right now. But, Fischer scored a bunch of goals a couple seasons ago. He might still have it in him. He's young. Maybe they take a shot at him. Lyubushkin, I doubt they pick him up. He's a bit of an unknown around the league. The Coyotes fans love him. He's a Russian bear. But he's pretty too unknown to really take a risk on him. But honestly, whoever we lose out of these four exposed players, the Coyotes will get out of it pretty well. Of course, they lost Adin Hill, but they got good value back, and we'll jump into that, I guess. So they acquired a lot of draft picks over the weekend. They acquired a 2021 second-round draft pick, which will take place this Saturday, the second round of the 2021 NHL entry draft. And then they got two second-round draft picks for next season's draft from picking up Andrew Ladd. The second is the San Jose Sharks. That second is the New York Islanders. One of the 2022 seconds is from the Sharks. So, the Islanders did pretty well in the playoffs, so that's a high second-round pick. One of these seconds will be a San Jose Sharks second-rounder, which will be a more valuable second-round pick, and then the other one will be the New York Islanders. And then the third-round pick they acquired for 2022 is conditional only if Andrew Ladd plays one game in next season after this upcoming season. So in 2022, 2023, if Andrew Ladd plays one game as a Coyote, he will get the team a third-round pick. And then, of course, they do get Andrew Ladd, who's an NHL player, But like I said, he needs to work a lot this offseason. He said he's been training hard in the interview he had with the team on their social media pages. He's a good veteran guy. I'm not sure what's left of Ladd. He's a power forward. He's a winger. He has a good two-way game. So maybe you're looking at a fourth-line winger. If anything, a third-line winger. I better not see Ladd in the top 6. If you see Ladd in the top 6, you know it's dire straits for the Coyotes. Of course, they picked up Kozhinash from that Hill trade along with one of the 2022 second-round picks. And the thing that worries me is Andrew Ladd carries a $5.5 million cap hit for this season and next season. So remember last video where I said the Coyotes have so much cap room. They're about $10 million to the floor, away from the floor, and $15 million away from their reported internal cap, which may or may not be true. So this eats into that. Now they're only $4.5 million away from the floor. But, you know, it worries me because this is $5.5 million against the cap that could have went to Connor Garland. So this is a fantastic trade. They literally gave up nothing for 3 draft picks and Andrew Ladd. It's a win. It's a win for the Coyotes. There's no way you can say it's a loss for the Coyotes. Some people say, "Oh, you should have gotten a first-round pick," but you know the Islanders weren't handcuffed. It's 2 second-round picks and a third, so you're getting 3 assets instead of just the 1 in the first round. He could still play. Supposedly, if he plays and he's like a 10-goal guy, I mean, that's not too bad. When Carolina got Patrick Marleau from the Leafs were handcuffed. They had to sign their star players at big contracts. Carolina knew this. The whole league knew this, so the price was really high. Marleau really didn't play well with the Carolina Hurricanes. I think he went to Pittsburgh at a deadline and did nothing, and then went back to San Jose in subsequent seasons. So, you know, it's a $5.5 million cap hit. It's not salary. It's not $5.5 million in terms of actual cash that the ownership is paying. I believe it's only a $1 million salary base, and then $2 million in signing bonuses. So I think this season they only owe Ladd $3 million, and then next season I believe it's $4 million in real money. But against the cap, it's $5.5 million, and you know, if all the reports are saying the Coyotes want to play at the floor, there's only $4.5 million left to sign a whole bunch of defensemen. Look at all these free agent defensemen that the Coyotes are losing or they could sign. I would honestly only sign Gross and Gross and Osterley. I would not sign Demers. Osterley and Gross as free agent defensemen, I would re-sign. Maybe Goligoski if he's cheap. He does not deserve a $5 million contract again. That's just defensemen. Forwards, if I guess I'm talking about it, yeah, Bunting I would sign, and Peterson, maybe Hunt, not so much high on Hayden. But anyways, let's get back into it. They got to sign a bunch of defensemen. They have to sign Bunting, and they have to sign Garland. So if the reports are true that the Coyotes are playing with a cap floor situation or an internal cap situation, this could be bad news, this Andrew Ladd cap hit. If the Coyotes do not sign Garland because of this cap hit they required just to get draft capital, it's a loss in my books. They should have prioritized signing Connor Garland before getting Andrew Ladd and all those draft picks. But honestly, reading the tea leaves, Bill Armstrong and management, they want to acquire draft capital. They want to refresh, rebuild, retool on the fly sort of thing. If they don't sign Garland, I know that's a full rebuild. I think that's the last sign we have of which direction this team is going to, because they could still re-sign Garland and keep all these draft picks. That's pretty good. So you're kind of retooling on the fly. You have some good young core forwards, a good defenseman in Chikrin, some guys in Tucson that could make the jump. You got still Soderstrom and Yannick and Hayden coming up. So you still have a pretty good roster, and you acquired all this draft capital. You can move from there, but honestly, if they decide to actually blow everything up, trading away Ekman Larson, Garland, Schmaltz, it's going to be a rough couple years, but I mean, this is a good haul for draft picks. And over the offseason and during the season, the Coyotes revamped their whole scouting department. They got excellent personnel in terms of amateur scouting. Bill Armstrong said his scouts were out around the leagues all season, whereas some other teams were sitting at home because they didn't decide to travel and scout players. So I believe Bill Armstrong wants to build from the draft, which is what all good teams do. Tampa Bay did it. The Detroit Red Wings did it and are doing it. You got to homegrown your players, and I really like that. But if this acquisition of Vlad means they're not signing Garland, that's tough to swallow. That's a loss of a trade in my books. But we just have to see what happens. The Seattle expansion draft is Wednesday night, and the entry draft is Friday and Saturday. So a lot of trades could still happen. All the GMs and ownership getting together, all around the league getting together and discussing trades could happen. Big blockbusters could happen. Maybe OEL gets traded. Maybe OEL gets packaged with Garland to make it more digestible to trade. If that does happen, I expect a high draft pick and a good prospect that is NHL ready to play this upcoming season. If they trade away Garland and don't get a good roster player back, that's a loss in my books. If you just give away Garland, it's a loss. But if you could, I understand the appeal of attaching him to OEL and giving OEL's contract away without sacrificing draft capital. I could see that makes business sense, but it would hurt to see that. So I hope this trade is not signaling that for the team. That's my only worry. Other than that, it was a great trade. Loving Bill Armstrong's trades. That's his third trade as a member of the general manager of the Coyotes, always getting second-round picks, getting his second roster player, first Kojanaj and then Andrew Ladd. So good things from Bill Armstrong, but like I said, the subtext and the implicity of the trade could worry us all. So that's it for me. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word, and thank you for your support.